Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Abomination. And you're probably expecting me to make some sort of pun about the name Abomination and the figure being bad, and that's not going to happen because the figure is in many ways, not all the ways, but in many ways, really good. There's lots to like about this figure. We're going to talk about all of it. Unfortunately, there are a few things that are no bueno, but they're not that big of a deal, kind of. So stick around. We're going to talk about it. You can let me know what you think once we get to those sections. But there's definitely some good stuff about this guy. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Now, I know I haven't uploaded a video in quite a while, guys. It's not something I really had that much control over. Things weren't being shipped to me when I was expecting them to be shipped, and I didn't have anything to review. These just came in today. It took them forever to get here, so now I'm reviewing them. I know that's a bummer. There are lots of videos. You may have missed some previously, so there's still stuff to check out on the channel if you are hankering for some Anthony's Customs videos. I know I could have done something like a top 10 or anything, but when you don't have that planned, you don't really want to just throw that together. You end up with a crappy video, so I didn't do that. I was just hoping my stuff would show up, and it did. I know it's a little bit late, but that's the way it goes. I have not, however, been not doing anything. I have been working on some new heads. Ignore the color for now. They're not going to be pink. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So we've got some different Logan heads which are going to be available in the near future. There's one where I'm still working on Gambit. I had so many Gambit orders. I'm still making Gambit heads. There's one with the cigar. There's one where he's yelling. Doesn't look like Andy Serkis eating a burger. And then we have just kind of like a neutral angry head. So we've got some new Logan heads coming. And then on another note, Spawn's axe. I decided I should probably just make his axe, because like everybody I think is going to want the axe, whereas at least half the people already have the sword. So I'll make the axe first, and then we'll see how that goes, and then we'll worry about making the sword. This is the molding or the casting of just the head of the axe. It will receive the handle, obviously. I'll be making that tonight probably, making a cast of it. Again, ignore the color. But the axe is done, and we have lots of nice little details in it. You can see it's all battle damaged up and scuffed and scratched, and it has a little Spawn skull on there. Looks just like it did in the game this is from. So if you're into those kind of things, I have been working on those. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back into, amongst other things, lots of other things. The action figure line is taking a lot of time. Anyway, let's get into the review that you guys came here for. So this is the figure. He stands about, let's say 9 inches, give or take, and that's going to make him pretty close to, let's go 23 centimeters. Here he is up against another figure from the wave of boringness, and there he is. Comes up to the diaphragm, give or take, just below the nipples, and so he's got some size to him, and that's one of the good things about this guy. He is a beefy boy. He has decent height and plenty of girth, and that's what the ladies like. No, that's a good thing for Build-A-Figure and for all figures. One of the things Marvel Legends figures tend to lack is front to back. They don't have any front to back at all. Like, their whole body is the same size as their arms. And that would be okay for the shoulder, like on a muscular person, give or take. Obviously, the back should stick out some, the chest should stick out some, you get what I'm saying. These guys are very, very narrow. This guy has some nice front to back to him. The shoulders are set back behind the head, and I know it's because he's got this inhuman build, but still, it gives the figure a really nice appeal. There are a few things, one in particular, that would have made this figure a lot better aesthetically. We'll get to that in the articulation, but all in all, it's a really nice looking figure. They have some darker shading going on the sides, the lighter shading going on the insides. That's all good. The shorts are all molded in their color, so that's okay. No detail work though, unfortunately. That's a bit of a bummer. I don't know what version of Abomination this guy is supposed to be. Is he from the game that's not yet out? Is that why he looks like this? Because as far as I can tell, that doesn't look like any Abomination I have ever seen. Ever. And it looks terrible. It's not a good design. It's not a good head sculpt either, because this ear is tucked in. It's like pinched into the head. This one's sticking out, but it's not like melted or burnt or anything, this one. It's just not symmetrical. His eyes are a separate piece behind the plastic, and mine are not painted properly at all, so he looks terrible. He looks like he's gonna put on a Superman shirt and a pirate hat and yell Rocky Road. I mean, it just doesn't look good. It's not good. Good news is some of the real Abomination heads. I'm gonna say Doomsday. I keep going to say Doomsday every time. Some of the other Abomination heads that we've had in the past, even the old Toy Biz one, does fit on this figure scale-wise. The Build-A-Figure one does as well. Obviously, the paints won't quite match, but you could swap out this head very easily. A little bit of work would be involved, of course, but then you have this great body to go with a better head than this one. But if you like this head, then that's good. They did a decent job with the mouth and whatnot. It's just, I don't know, it's a terrible design and not well executed. And his spikes all stick off to this side on the back. See how they're not symmetrical? It's just, and I get that he's not supposed to be symmetrical, but balance would be, anyway, it doesn't look good. Okay, so aesthetically speaking, I like a lot about this figure, a whole bunch. I'm gonna give it an 8.5, not 8. I'm gonna go 8. They didn't paint the nails, the claws, I guess you would say, for the hands or the feet. I'm assuming they should be painted. And then there are some issues throughout, like this row of spikes has light green underneath it, and even though it's dark green all the way around, you know, little things like that. No detail work on the pants. Definitely could be better, but still gets an 8. As far as accessories go, there are none, so 0. And now it's time for the articulation. You already saw the head is on a big old double ball peg. Doesn't have a ton of range because of how deep they set it again. Look at that. See how deep in there that ball peg is? You can't even see it, it's so deep. I'm not gonna make any jokes. It's very far in there. It's a long ball peg, which would give you a lot of throw, a lot of play for the range, but it's so far in there, you still get plenty of range. But he also doesn't have much of in the way of a neck, so you're getting more of a shifting. See? More of a shifting than a leaning. There's not a whole lot of leaning to do. That is above and beyond. Like with a big old ball peg like that, you would expect a ton of range. He has very little. They didn't really achieve much with that ball peg. But it's okay, it's fine, it's not a negative, it just could be a lot better. A lot better. For the shoulders, we have a butterfly joint that goes back, although it doesn't really go back all the way because this part here hits the shoulder. The shoulder doesn't go fit underneath that, so this whole section is wasted. Can't use it. Why design it if you can't use it? Why put a giant cavity there if you can't use it? Going forward is okay, except it doesn't really go forward. There's just no cutout there. It's a lot like the Hulk figure. Can't go forward at all. So that's kind of a bummer. Butterfly joint, mostly a waste. For the shoulder itself, you do have your full rotation, of course. It does raise up a little bit, but the nubbins get in the way, so you're not getting that much range out of it, so that's kind of a bummer. And they also made the shoulders this kidney bean shape. You have the big lump that sticks into the body, and then the shoulder ball here, which is the reason you can't raise the arms up properly. And it also gave him kind of a squatty chest look. If they had just pulled the butterfly joint out and like feathered the pectoral muscle out this way a little bit farther, they could have just done a round shoulder ball rather than having the kidney bean shape, and it would have pegged in the same way and functioned better and looked better, but they didn't do it. Also, you would have had a better butterfly joint. Instead, you have a butterfly joint that doesn't work because it's completely recessed and, well, that doesn't work. Alright, so bicep swivel is a bicep swivel, it's very swivelly. Elbow is an elbow, you get 90 degrees and more swivel out of that, more rotation, so if you want that, you can do that. For the wrists, we have a swivel and a hinge, that's all fine. Diaphragm joint on this guy, very nice. Love it, love it, love it. Look at that posability. So much more variety, so much more versatility than on an ab crunch. That's wonderful. Looks like you would have a waist twist. You don't, and you can tell, or at least mine doesn't move, and it's keyed in. These belt straps are keyed into the, whatever this piece, the abdomen, the back of the abdomen, and it won't go. It feels like you can really force it, and this is like a soft piece on top of a skeleton inside, but I don't think you're intended to, because it really doesn't want to move. So that's a little bit weird. You don't need it necessarily because of the diaphragm joint, but at the same time, you're gonna have a cut there. Why isn't it functional? Just doesn't really make sense. For the hips, they go out to the side pretty well. They're not too loose or anything, so that's good. Going forward though, going straight forward, that's about as much range as you're gonna get, and then it kicks it out to the side. Sure, you can rotate the thigh, but it still kicks the leg out to the side, so that's not great. Doesn't really go back at all. Thigh swivel is obviously fine. Double jointed knees work nicely, no issues there. We get a really ugly shin swivel. I don't know why. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're gonna do it, at least hollow it out and make it ball shaped so that it looks more organic. Just putting a cut right there is just so silly. Plus, look at that. The ankle is almost perfectly 90 degrees when it rotates. It kicks it out almost none. No kick out. That's a great way of saying it. So you don't even need that swivel in there. Ugh, I hate that. That's so ugly. And it's not the kind that really disappears when you're not using it. It's not the worst, but it just doesn't need to be there. Anyway, the ankle goes forward sufficiently, pretty far back, and then you have a nice rotation. The ankle is very soft though, so he does tend to do this a lot. You can see he's doing it right now. Let's see if he falls back. He's going. He's going. He's not going. He's almost going. Oh, there he goes. All right, yeah, the ankles are very loose. So articulation on this guy, it's definitely sufficient, but we have some serious issues that could have been a lot better. Some serious issues and some little issues that could have been a lot better. So I'm only going to give it a 7. Still, all in all, a very solid figure. You're going to be able to pose this guy up pretty well. He's going to look nice doing it. Just enough paint on him to really make him stand out. I think most people are going to like this. I don't think most people are going to like the head, especially if it is from the game and it's not from the comics or any other version of this character. I think that's going to be a detriment to the figure, but there are other heads out there that could be swapped onto it to alleviate that issue, because it is a really, really nice body otherwise. So, you know, another thing I just realized, I'm assuming since these are painted tan, all of them should be, and they're not. So I'm going to knock back whatever I gave the aesthetic down. I think I gave it an 8. I'm going to give it a 7. If they should all be 10, which they all should because it's like the same sculpt everywhere, that's not good. So yeah. Okay, final verdict on this guy is a 7. It does do a lot of things really well, but the more I look at it, the more I find things that are just not well executed on it. And it's going to be fine, especially if you're a kid, you're going to be okay with it. You're going to play with it just fine. But if you're looking for it to be a collectible like these are meant to be, yes, they're toys, they're also collectibles. You're gonna find a lot wanting on this guy. Definitely some good stuff. Definitely some stuff that'll leave you disappointed. But all in all, he gets a 7, and that's still a pretty good review. So there it is. There's the new Abomination, and I don't think I said Doomsday once. So there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you probably should, because I do have new videos kind of almost every day. Whenever I can, I do them every day. And plenty of stuff on the channel for the days I don't. So come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.